Boom. This chart. It's called the conspiracy chart. Now, I believe I believe this chart was. Here we go. We got credit to Abbie Richards here. There's all her ats. But I found this, and I think she's an anti-conspiracy theorist, just judging by how it's laid out. But either way, I love this chart, and I do enjoy the way she laid it out. I think it is comical. I think it's a little funny.
She said the anti-Semitic point of no
yes, yeah, that's what I thought. I think it's funny. But so just right here, we've got things that actually happened, and so some of this stuff is real. And I just want you to know these are things right here, and everything here is things that actually happened. So COINTELPRO, Operation Mockingbird. So some of these things I'm familiar with, others I'm not. I'm not so familiar with COINTELPRO. I know it's a bunch of government stuff. But here's the things I can talk about, and I wanted to touch on, and these are real things that actually happened, grounded in reality. So the way she's got this set up, grounded in reality, is at the bottom. And the higher you go up against this inverted pyramid, you start getting to, well, this one, we have questions. And then she has this one that says unequivocally false, but mostly harmless. This one, everything here is dangerous to yourself and others. So if you believe any of this, this is after you've started denying science, apparently, you become dangerous to yourself, dangerous to others. And then there is the anti-Semitic point of no return. And this is the world is ruled by supreme shadow elites. And once you believe one, you usually believe most, and it says get help. So I just think it's so funny. This is the most detached from reality that you can be, is up here. And it's just funny because I see these things, and I just think it's funny. I think it's funny. All right, so let's talk about what actually happened. So the Bohemian Club. Stephen, do you know what the Bohemian Club is?
Yep, Alex Jones exposed it.
Yes, sir. I think that's all we really need to say about that. Anybody who's interested, you can find it. Bohemian Club, Alex Jones. Have fun. MK Ultra. Do you know anything about MK Ultra?
Like that's something like mind control when they did the mind control things.
Yeah. These are things that actually happened. So they would drug a bunch of people and give them a bunch of LSD and try to make these people go essentially split personality. They create a new personality and they become that personality, and it's all mind control stuff, right? This is something that one of my favorite rappers has been talking about a lot recently, and that's Kanye West. I love Kanye, guys. He's not crazy.
Right? We didn't even talk about that. Oh my god,
Ye is not fucking crazy.
That? What the hell? Good.
Yeah, he's doing his thing, and the best thing you can do is just ask questions and listen. When he says something that you think sounds crazy, instead of saying no, that's crazy, ask questions. Say, why does he say that? Okay, and then delve into it and see what he's saying and get to the bottom of it. He's been talking about MK Ultra. Candace Owens likes to bring it up. For anybody who watches Candace, they know what I'm talking about. All right, so FBI spied on John Lennon. That's nothing that I even care about. John Lennon, you guys, Beatles, you guys know. Who cares? All right, so Tuskegee. Stephen, do you know what Tuskegee's written here for? Do you know what that's about?
No, sir.
The Tuskegee experiments. So this is when some form of the U.S. government did a bunch of experiments on black men. NSA mass surveillance. I think we all know what that is, right? The government's spying on everybody. They're doing it. They're doing it good. Operation Mockingbird. Do you know what Operation Mockingbird is? This is luckily something that really happened. So you can go find CIA declassified documents on it. I'll wrap it up real quick with what they do is the CIA. It could have been the FBI. I always get those confused because the FBI is one's supposed to be in country, one's supposed to be out of country. Either way, they don't follow the rules they're supposed to follow. So they're both doing these messed up experiments and operations. But Operation Mockingbird is when they took a bunch of agents and placed them in newsrooms. So you're getting a direct line from what the FBI to the newsroom, direct mouth. fill everybody with a bunch of bullshit.
Mm.
And it's a real thing that happened. There's if they're not doing it no more, it's only because they changed the name of it.
Okay.
I can neither read this nor know what this testimony is about. Do you know what that is?
No.
Navi Ra testimony? I don't know anything about that. All right, so we get to the spot here where we actually says we just have questions about these things. Now, is there anything in here that I mean, you know about all this stuff? Like Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
That's something. Yeah. Princess Diana. Yeah. Some more things that we have questions about. This Free Britney thing? Do you know what that's about?
Is that Britney Spears or
it is.
Britney
It
Griner?
is.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so
It's
Britney was under
conservatorship.
Yes. Yeah. Is she crazy? Is she not crazy? Is she mentally there or not? She's been posting some weird shit. Like I'll come across her on Reddit, right? So a lot of stuff gets posted to Reddit, even if it's originally posted somewhere else. So I believe they're probably Snapchats or she's uploading some short videos somewhere. Where she likes playing with knives, and now that she's got control of her own money, people are wondering, is she crazy? You know, we have questions, right? It says we have questions, that people have questions about the whole Free Britney thing and about that. So the Denver International Airport, that's the next thing right here underneath that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about Denver International?
Absolutely nothing.
There's this airport that they built in Denver that was, the cornerstone was laid by Freemasons. That's not sketchy at all, people. All right. That's just one part of it. The Denver International Airport has got like statues of talking gargoyles in it. It's got a giant black horse with red eyes outside in the front. And not the horse, it's the statue of it killed its own creator. Like the man who was creating the horse, a piece of the horse fell off while he was creating it and killed him. He's dead. No more. So there's also, there's a whole underground at Denver International Airport. There's people question as to what exactly is underground there, and that's something we can definitely get into one day. It is it's a rabbit hole to fall into. Roswell, we all know what Roswell is. All right, there was a crash, alien vessel was recovered, came out, then it said it wasn't recovered. What's going on there? We don't know. We just have questions. You can see what those questions would be. UFOs, kind of the same questions. What's going on? We see some weird stuff. People report stuff. What's going on? We just have questions. So are any of these, before we, and there's also Area 51. Most of us know what that is, and the JFK assassination. So those files were just released. I still think people still have questions about it, but I think we're all drawing the same conclusion. So, Stephen, have we gone too far?
You gonna skip Marilyn Monroe?
Oh, okay. Marilyn Monroe. Sorry. Apparently I was going to skip that. I think that if people go, I think these two could be related, and people would find one or the other if they were to start asking questions, which I would totally advise. Ask questions, guys. Okay, so right now we're about to leave reality.
Yeah, I definitely don't believe Epstein killed himself.
Unequivocally, false, but mostly harmless. So these things are definitely not real. Even if you believe in them, you have apparently left reality, but it's mostly harmless and unequivocally false. All right. What do we have here? Oh boy. All right. Prince Charles vampire. I don't know. I'm in my mid-30s, so he's always just looked old to me.
Yeah.
That's about, Elvis lives. Here we go. Here's something that I've always been told since I was a little boy, and that's that Elvis was still alive. Another thing people just have questions about. You go down that rabbit hole, you'll start seeing stuff. Oh, I saw this old man here. Pictures of this old man looking out a window, and people claim it's Elvis. Yeah, people got pictures. This is not a I don't think it's unequivocally false. It might be. Maybe he did die. I mean, I don't know. It was all before I was born. Mattress firm. This is something I actually I did look over this, but I didn't see all of the things. I just made sure, I know about stuff in each level of it. But mattress firm, this is this is a subject here that's like kind of crazy. Do you know how many mattress firms there are?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen a mattress firm building? Like you drive by and like there's a
Yeah.
mattress building. All right.
Yeah.
If you start looking at how many there are, there's a lot. There's a lot of mattress firms. And it begs the question, why is there a lot? Okay. Because hotels, they don't buy their beds from an outlet store. And you would assume they're the biggest purchaser of beds, seen as I've bought one in the last 10 years. And that's one for me and the lady to share. So who's buying all these beds? Why do they have all these stores? What's really going on? I think this starts to bring up the question of, is this a money laundering action? Because people buy beds for thousands of dollars, but beds aren't worth thousands of dollars and don't cost thousands of dollars to make. And then how easy is it, like you're paying employees to stand in a big empty building all day to sell beds to nobody. And there's 3 of these in the same town. And that was one of the big questions I had, is like, well, what is happening here? Is this some kind of like money laundering scheme? What's up with all these stores located so close to each other? Because I actually used to work remodeling hotels. So I know for a fact that when they don't come from, no one's going to pick them out. Like they come from a hotel supply company and they come in on a truck and you unload them and put them in the room. And it only happens when the hotel gets remodeled. So it's not like there's a bunch of people going to these outlets, all these mattress firm outlets to buy their beds. Something you only buy once in 10 years. You live in a house, it takes 30 years to pay off a house. You might buy 3 different beds for yourself during that time. Where are the people that are going in and buying all these mattresses, and how are these buildings able to pay for all the overhead and still stay in business when we got Hooters going out of business, Titties and Hot Wings going out of business, and mattress firms somehow still open? Anywho, we'll go on to cryptids. Cryptids, there's a lot of them. There's so many of them. There's some that look like dinosaurs, some that look like people. There's Dogman. He lives in the north. There's around where we live, there's a beast called Momo, the Missouri Monster. He lives a little bit north of us. But when I was actually growing up in school, my 5th grade teacher, he loved telling us stories about hunting and just stories that he thought was funny about him and his hunting buddies doing stuff, And as a 5th grade class, we enjoyed listening to it because, it's not very often you get to hear story time, but also, it means we're not doing work. It means we're not in the middle of history. We're getting to hear a story about hunting. And he would tell us stories, and that's when I learned about Momo. That was like my first introduction to cryptids, was and someone speaking about them as if they were real. And that was my 5th grade teacher. He would talk about it in one of his stories. He was talking about Momo, and we all, well, who's Momo? And he told us that's the Missouri Monster. He lives up north in a place called Pike County. I definitely believe that Bigfoot himself is real, just based on the amount of I've already left reality according to this, but just based on the amount of different names we have for him. So people in Florida, they have a shorter kind of one. Well, it's really hot in Florida and it's swampy, but they call him the skunk ape, right? Because he's stinky, and that's just his name. You go north of Florida, and I think into Virginia area, you have something called like the wood booger. And that's my favorite name for a Bigfoot, is the wood booger. And do you know what? Because when I heard this, I had to figure out why are they calling him the wood booger? Do you know what that would come from? Just boogeyman in the woods, wood booger. Yeah, that's it. Yep. So then around us, we have Momo, but then there's also the Sasquatch, and then there's Bigfoot. And Sasquatch is actually derived from a word that the Native Americans would call him. And then in other parts of the world, you have the Yeti and all this. So am I willing to write off cryptids as leaving reality? Me personally, no. This person did. And it's crazy that they have cryptids and Bigfoot here and the Loch Ness Monster. But those are all the same thing. There's Mothman.
Yeah, some of it is just like they just fill it in and stuff, like with the Roswell UFO and Area 51. Them all.
Yeah, that they could group that up. Greta Thunberg. Do you know who that is?
No, sir.
She's the "How dare you?"
I don't know. That didn't help.
You don't know? All right. She's the little, I think she's Swedish, the little Swedish girl that was posted all over when she was like 16, being the face of going green. She'd get really angry and tell off people and say, "How dare you?" Oh, you don't know her? Oh, man. All right. Well, I didn't see this. I didn't know this. I actually don't know about this at all. But apparently, someone thinks Greta Thunberg is a time traveler, which I'm here for it. Let's look into it. I'm gonna look into that one. Crop circles. What you know about crop circles, man? They real? They not?
Aliens did it, right?
I mean, that's what they say. But then we have a group of people. I believe 2 gentlemen came out saying that they were the ones creating them, and they wore their little hat with the bill on it, and they tape a little, like a clothes hanger or something, piece of metal to make a little circle so they could have like a HUD, a heads up display, so they could see. And they said, yeah, we just walked in these lines and they made them. They said they made them with boards, and they mushed down all the corn in the field and made these shapes.
Yeah, it sounds unlikely, but
it does sound unlikely. Man. It does sound unlikely, but they confessed to it and they said they did it. And I will also let you know that there's videos of crop circles just forming instantly. Just a light shows up and then whoosh, crop circle forms. It's almost kind of like cymatics, but it's got to be in a frequency we can't hear. Avril Lavigne replaced. Do you know who Avril Lavigne is?
Absolutely not.
Oh my god. Okay.
You gonna do a voice for her too?
What I'm gonna do is tell you that I think he was a skater boy. She said, "See you later, boy."
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
So is that the person that sang it?
That's the girl that sings it. Yeah, okay. Avril Lavigne. She was this Canadian. She was really hot when I was younger, and there was a point in time when, like, I mean, was she replaced? Could be the person that looks like Avril Lavigne is not Avril Lavigne right now, and there is something to that. You could lose about an hour, 2 hours of your life looking into that, but there is something there to look into. There's a little bit of sketchy. If anything, I would have this placed down here where we have questions, because we got questions about that one too. But again, I have to go back and let everybody know that these are unequivocally false, but mostly harmless. What do they say? What do they say, Stephen? They say, man, this is just this is just for entertainment purposes, people. All right, so now we're getting
the Beatles never existed. It's crazy. Okay, I ain't never heard that.
Yeah, no, I just recognized that. So I thought that said something else. So it says the Beatles never existed.
I've never heard that, bro.
No, I heard something along the different lines, but there is some Beatles questions to be asked. Did one of them die? Was one of them replaced? Did something happen here? Were they set up? Are they, MK Ultra stuff? But for them to say never existed, that's something I'm gonna have to start questioning. But I don't want to go on to the next stage unless. Is leaving reality too much for you yet, Stephen? Is there anything here that's out of the question where you're like, no, that is definitely a bridge too far, can't do that? Or are we still talking about stuff that's possible? Hold on, right here it says aliens built Stonehenge. I didn't even see that one.
You ain't see that?
No.
That was the first thing I saw, but Elvis lives then it.
So aliens built Stonehenge. Do you have anything to say about that? Do you have any questions about that yourself? No? Do you feel one way or the other about it? Okay. I personally,
I never really looked into it for real, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I heard of it, never really looked into it.
Okay. Stonehenge. I don't think aliens built it, man. I think that is what they would. I think it's a red herring. I think it's something that, go look at this. Aliens built it. Aliens, which leads you back down here to being crazy. And I think, no, I know. No, we know from what we read in the Bible earlier that giants existed. So why would aliens have to build it when you've got giants all over the place? So no, I think Stonehenge was built by giants, man.
I don't think Elvis lives, though.
I don't think he does anymore.
I think it's a possibility he could have, but
you think it right. That's kind of where I am.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility with him, but I don't think I don't know because I wasn't around after he died. It was before my time, so I don't know. But it kind of reminded me of the Tupac thing.
Ooh,
You know?
kind of
Yeah,
does. It's
so
a little
I don't
reminiscent.
know. Yeah.
I understand that. Prince Charles, a vampire. I don't know. Like, I like it. I mean, it'd be cool.
He said, "I like it."
But I don't know. I haven't went down that route. It sounds fun. It sounds fun. But for me, still here, nothing here is like,
Out of
I
reach.
agree with the mostly harmless thing. Like, I think
Yeah.
that, yeah, this is all mostly harmless. Like, fucking, I mean, unless Prince Charles really is a vampire, like, if thinking about him being a vampire, yeah, that's mostly harmless. But if he is a real vampire, like, no, that's not mostly harmless. You got a freaking vampire running England, man. What are you doing? Come on, people. All right, so science denial. We're about to cross the line into science denial. Is that something that you are willing to cross at this
Let's
moment?
go. Let's roll.
Ah, okay, all
We
right. Well,
already in the core. Might as well keep driving.
all righty. So, shit, there is some stuff up here, man. Finland doesn't exist. This is got to be my favorite.
I ain't never heard of that. That's funny.
Ooh, all right. So
Ain't it people from Finland, bro?
yeah. So I came across Finland doesn't exist. I'm surprised that that's even included in here because it's such a niche, such a small fucking thing that I only came across it when I was looking up I was like, what is the craziest conspiracy theory you have ever heard? And which of course led me to a Reddit post, right? So in that Reddit post, someone was asking the same question, and he was like, "Well, let me go first. My parents always told me Finland doesn't exist." And everybody's like, "What the hell? Like, what is this?" But listen, it's sketchy. It is sketchy. I'll tell you that. Now I understand how crazy that this sounds, but I will tell you it is sketchy. And here's where his points were. Is like, well, I wish I would have went more into this, but like research wise, but I didn't know it was here. I didn't know we'd be talking about this. The reason they say Finland doesn't exist is that it's Finland as a land. Yes, there's people who live in a place called Finland, right? They're presumably Finnish people, right? But his point was Finland is not where it is on the map. That the place that is on the map is actually a part of the ocean, that it is where Japan does its fishing for sharks. The Japanese like to eat something called shark fin soup. All right. And with shark fin soup, the way you do it is you pull the sharks out of the water.
That will be the first step.
Yep. Cut their fins off.
That sounds like the second step.
It does. Wait. And then you throw the shark back in. The step of killing the shark never actually happens.
So the shark don't die?
Not from you cutting off its fins, and not after you catch it.
You can Josh, bro. So you telling me sharks can live after
No, they end up dying.
They sew them up or something?
No. That's why people have such a problem with the Japanese doing this, is because they pulled it. I watched this on the TV when I was really little. There was, I don't know if it was a documentary or something, came across the TV, and I was like, this is really messed up. And I'm talking like sub 10 years old. They pull the sharks up, and you would think that they would kill the shark at that point, cut off the fins, and maybe give the meat, do something with the meat, right? But they pull the shark up, and the first thing after that is cutting off the fins. And then they just throw the live shark, who they've just amputated, back into the water to eventually, yes, die. But
they fucking drown, bro.
They're right. They're torturing this animal when you would think the logical thing is kill the shark, eat the shark,
eat the meat,
and sell the fins as like a premium item. But no, for their shark fin soup, they only want the fins, brother. So they get rid of the rest of the shark, lest they need to haul back to shore. So with the Finland doesn't exist. Now listen, what's it called? Finland. That this is where the Japanese still currently go to do their shark fin hunting because it's outlawed everywhere else. I know it's crazy. but that's just how the theory goes. I'm just explaining the theory to you. And yeah, it's crazy, but sorry. If you believe in this, you are dangerous to yourself and others. So don't believe in it, but that is how the theory goes. I love it. I think it's hilarious because whether it's true or not, it doesn't affect me, right? I'm not out here captain defender of sharks. I can't do it all, right? I can't defend the sharks and create the maps that are geographically correct and show Finland in the correct place. And I can't do it all, right? So right now I'm just explaining this is theory. I think it's funny and it doesn't affect my life at all either way. But jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. Do you know what that is?
I'm just taking it for what it says.
Yes, it doesn't. It doesn't. Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. It doesn't burn hot enough to make the steel melt. And there was something that happened where there was a lot of maybe a couple towers fell, 2, 3 towers fell. Some people only remember 2 towers falling on that day, but 3 towers fell. And this is just a little nod to that. It's like, well, you said some jets flew into these buildings and that the fuel kind of melted the steel, because steel buildings have never came down except for one time, have ever came down due to a fire. And they just don't. They're built to withstand way more than that. It's just a statement. Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. Some people say it does. Logically, it doesn't.
So that's tied to the theory of 9/11, and they basically, yeah, okay, the conspiracy of 9/11, okay.
Anti-vaxxers. I know them. I will let you know that I am not a vaccine. I'm not pro-vaccine. I'll tell you that. But vaccines, they are, there's a lot of questions to be asked. So the global warming hoax, what do you know about that? What do you think? Global warming, it's happening, it's not happening.
You asking me?
Yeah, it's next on the list right here.
I don't know. I don't think so, bro.
You don't think
so? But I do believe some stuff, like when they was saying, okay, so I don't think that it'll get to the point to where it'll drown all us out, right? Because that's one of the theories of the global warming, that the glaciers and everything will melt and blase, and it'll flood the land. Don't believe that, right? Because even if so if you put a cup with ice and water in it, right? When the ice melt, what's gonna happen?
It's gonna stay the exact same level.
It stay the exact same level, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I do believe global warming. See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what they attach to what. I don't know if they attach in
the people on the side
and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to answer.
So the people on the side of saying that global warming is a hoax, they're saying not that it's not something that doesn't exist. Like, we know that it fluctuates, right? But what they're saying is we humans cannot affect it. We were told we can use hairspray bottles because the aerosols were putting a hole in our ozone layer and going to cause global warming. Yeah, global warming is fucking absolute bullshit. Humans can't affect it. And then they try to say that cows are the next biggest producers, meaning cattle, like that their farts are full of methane and causing the methane gases to build up in our atmosphere, causing more sun to get trapped in our atmosphere, thus global warming. All right, so that's pretty much it for the global warming. But soy boys, what's crazy is the soy milk that they were pushing on everybody was really creating what we would call soy boys. Soy has I don't know the exact numbers because, like I said, this is just touching on all this for now, has multitudes more estrogen in it than comparable beans. So once you get enough of that and you condense it down into, you get a cup of the soy milk. I mean, it was such a crazy number. I want to say it was almost 25,000 times more estrogen than like a red bean or something. That it's just a crazy amount of estrogen. And by condensing it down and squeezing all the milk out of it and giving it to our young men and our baby boys to drink at a young age, was actually filling them with estrogen. And that's just, like I said, we don't have to believe any of it. And I advise not to, because as you see here, makes you dangerous to yourself and others. I'm not even going to read this. You guys can see it. Everyone here knows what this is about. And this kind of rolled out secretly around that time. Do you know what this is on here for? This 5G? Yeah. They say that the 5G is causing some stuff that's kind of related to this. We're just going to go right on here because these are dangerous to yourself and others. Government-made diseases. One that I think is mostly harmless to talk about. None of it is, because it all makes you dangerous to yourself and other. Lyme disease, man. Lyme disease just kind of showed up in these ticks, and a bunch of people got it, and there's a correlation. Could it be coming out of this lab? Whatever. I don't know of any other government-made diseases, because I don't think the government would do that. But
you being serious or you joking right
now?
I thought we lost you for a second. I thought we lost you. Go ahead, though. Carry on.
All right. No, dinosaurs didn't exist. This is something that I personally could never get behind. But do you know anything about this? What people say about this?
The only theory that I heard is it was bones that was placed, like different animal bones that was put together to create a dinosaur, like animals that might have died together, and they put them together to create the dinosaur.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I heard.
Essential oils cure all illnesses. This is something I haven't gotten into. I do believe there are a lot of natural cures that are being suppressed because of the fact that if there is a natural cure for something, you're not allowed to make a petroleum-based medicine for it. Did you know that? Yeah. And petroleum-based medicines are like any of the pills that we'll take. Those are all petroleum-based. And that if there is a natural remedy for something, you cannot make a medicine for it, because you just take the natural remedy, right? There's no need to put take the pill. So I do believe there are natural remedies that are suppressed in order to be able to make the remedy for us in pill form, and simply just by denying it, saying, no, that doesn't really work, that's woo-woo. As for essential oils curing all illnesses, I don't know nothing about that. That seems like that might be a bridge too far for me. I'm not sure yet. But chemtrails. Stephen, do you know anything about chemtrails? Do you have anything to say about chemtrails? Are they real? They're not real?
Is that when I was younger, I called them like jet clouds.
Yeah, jet clouds.
Yeah,
that's right.
And stuff into the.
And it's crazy. Some of these jets don't have jet clouds, and then others do have jet clouds. And they try to tell us it's the same thing, and they say it's not chemtrails, guys. They're contrails. It's condensation, guys. Condensation's forming on the wing of the space or the airplane, and as it flies by, the condensation comes off. Thus, contrails. That's what you're seeing. And everyone else is saying, no, it's chemtrails. It's chemtrails. This is something that is definitely happening and needs to be down here on the definitely happening side of things, not up here on the, like it's not even, there's videos out of people showing it. Like you can just look on the internet, guys, look on the internet. So science denial, is there anything here, Stephen, before we go to the the point of no return up there, before we cross that point of no return, was there anything up here? Like for me, this Finland doesn't exist. I enjoy this. Do I think it's real? No. Does it affect me either way? No. Is it enjoyable? Yeah, I think it's fun. Is there anything here that you think that would stop you from going any further? Or how am I trying to say this? Anything here that you're like, whoa, that's definitely not real?
So never mind. I don't even want to talk about it. I ain't trying to get it. I was about
Right.
to talk about
Right.
yeah, what you got your shit on. Yeah.
I understand. Yep.
Essential oils. So what do they consider as essential oils?
So from my only experience with essential oils is these little bottles of concentrate that you buy, and I guess
Right.
you could maybe rub them on your hand if you wanted to smell like eucalyptus all day long. But I think a lot of people use them for like if you're making candles, you use it as the thing that scents the candle. If you have like an oil burner or an oil diffuser, you put it in there and it makes your house smell like eucalyptus and mint. But as for, people like, I don't know if they're drinking it. I don't know if they're rubbing it on their skin.
Yeah, they do different stuff like rub it on their skin and stuff like that. Like it can heal. I don't know about all illnesses, but it can heal stuff like migraines, pains,
Oh,
arthritis,
nice.
shit like that. I don't want to say cure, but um help with them.
All right. So are you ready for the point of no return and see what all the really crazy people think?
Let's go, man. I got my seatbelt on.
Oh man. All right. So this one's it's crazy. What's crazy is how much bigger that one up there is than this right here. Right? Because they put a lot of stuff into that point of no return. All right. Wow. All right. We'll just start at the top, work our way through it. QAnon. Were you around for QAnon?
I don't think so.
Man, I loved it. It was so fun. QAnon. So the whole QAnon thing was something that came up on 4chan, and it was someone was posting these very, very coded, I guess, messages on 4chan, but this person was talking like there was like Donald Trump was fighting a cabal of bad guys in the government. And, at first it sounded like a bunch of role play, like someone was just role playing as this thing. But then they started leaving these little things called Q drops, and they would give pictures of stuff that someone couldn't have. And when reversed image searched, wouldn't show up. Like one of the things that showed up on this was a picture inside Air Force One of a lamp. And it was a picture that had never showed up before. And the fact that this person was posting that means that they were at least on Air Force One. So this went on for a while of people of this Q is what they became to be known as, Q posting on 4chan. And it's a really fun saga. I wouldn't get wrapped up in it. People really did get wrapped up in it. And I mean, this goes to, they thought RFK was coming back and gonna assume presidency or something. I mean, it got crazy, man. But it was really fun to follow while it was going on, and it was like a something that was going on and that you could witness and be a part of and kind of like watch what was happening. It was a fun time. All right, so Illuminati. I think we all know about the Illuminati. And this is actually a real thing that was founded. It's founded the same year as our great nation, the United States, 1776. And before that, it was considered a secret society. It's quite a bit rabbit hole here to go down. Whether you think it's real or not, it's up to you, But then we got subliminal messages from ruling class on children's TV. Definitely is a thing. Definitely is a thing. There's no doubt about it. As a grown up, just go back and watch some shit you watched as a kid, and just look at it. I don't know why it's up here as dangerous, but yeah, and there's definitely subliminal messages going on. George Soros, do you know who this man is?
A billionaire, ain't he, or something like that?
Yeah, he is, and he's got a son named Alexander Soros, who just, I believe, married Huma Abedin, who was the ex-wife of Anthony Weiner, Anthony Weiner got caught with a laptop on it, and that laptop, it's crazy how all this stuff is connected. And that laptop happened to have something called life insurance on it. It was a file called life insurance.
Oh.
And if I don't want to talk about it right now, but if anybody does want to, that's on that side of it. Anyway, George Soros, it's crazy how his son married this woman who used to be married to this other guy it's just crazy. But George Soros, the theory is that he just rules a bunch of stuff, fun stuff, ruling the world, all that. My thing is if you know his name, he's just a pawn in a bigger game. The people who are, if there is someone behind everything, we don't know their names. We don't know. Deep state, kind of touching the same thing. We've got white genocide.
That's crazy to me. I ain't never seen them two words together.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting just in because we both live in America, right? Yeah. So we assume that, I mean, we look around, there's a lot of white people, right? Yeah. And I think that the easiest conclusion for people to think is like, oh, well, it's kind of like this everywhere, right? That the world is just a bunch of white people, right? And that's actually oddly not the case when you look at global statistics. Like, there's way more Asians, and so all of this I'm speaking of just off of memory, right? I didn't actually study for this. I didn't actually even think I was going to be bringing it up today, but from what I know about this is there's actually about the same amount of white people on this planet as there are black people. White and black people are within like a percentage of each other. It's just that isn't shown here in America. But when you look globally and you look at and you account for all of the races that we don't really see represented here in our country, that there's a lot more of them. And that, like, I believe they do separate the Asians. Otherwise, Asian is like 50% of the world, I think. So they split it into two separate kind, like East Asian and that. But like Russians, most of those Russians are old Mongol, that's in Asia, right? They're Asian, right? But I haven't actually looked into this, but there is, one time I was looking into the worldwide populations to try to figure out who is the biggest population, and Asians are actually the most from what I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. They are.
It seems like I think black people and white people were both around like 16%. Is that right?
I ain't got to that. I was looking at the Han Chinese and the Mongols, whatever you just said. The source for that one.
Yeah. So, and this goes back to cut this out real quick. Cut in.
So to go what you were saying, it's like white people 16%, black people 15%. So yeah.
Right. So isn't that crazy? Did you know that before today?
No, I didn't.
And if you would have never had to look into that, you would have think that there's a lot more white people in the world, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but also
it's crazy. It's just not what we were taught.
But also, if you want to go into it, remember what we was talking about earlier. I don't know. You can cut this off or not, because when you talked about it, we was cut out. It's just gonna be the other side of the coin.
Right.
That's all it is. But yeah, it took me a little while to think about it. That's what white genocide is. That they think eventually their race will continue to breed with Mexicans, blacks, etc.
This is kind of like dropping the bucket shit.
Yeah. And eventually it'd be a smaller percentage of white people than it is everybody else, which, I mean, that's kind of what it. I don't know. That's a whole nother wormhole. But go ahead.
There's this one right here. This one is what Alex Jones famously got sued for, $1 billion. We could talk about that sometime. And me and Steven, I think I could talk to you about that. offline and let you know some things. But yeah, it's just something that Alex Jones got sued for it, $1 billion. So it's obviously not fake. Otherwise, he wouldn't have lost that case, right? Moon landing faked. I would say, hold on. This is at the anti-Semitic point of no return, and this is. Ooh, I need to get help if I believe this. I don't know. Look at the footage yourself, and then go look at every other moon landing footage we have. I mean, India recently did one. I think within the last 2 years, maybe within the last year. And it's great. It looks like the newest Pixar movie. It is good. They did a really good job on that one. If it's real and it happened and we filmed it, I have not seen that footage, because the footage they're giving us is dog feces. It's not a moon landing. It is a joke. It doesn't hold up. You know how when you play an old video game, you're like, damn, I can't believe I thought this was so good when I was 10. And now that I'm, this age, it looks like garbage. Same with the moon landing footage. Okay. You're like, oh my God, people believe this? It's crazy. It's crazy. Nazis on. Go ahead.
Before you get off of that, you ever heard the theory of the filmmaker? What's that movie with the two little scary girls in the hallway? You heard that theory?
You're speaking of Stanley Kubrick producing it. Yes. Yeah. Yep. And he did a great job, and I believe he did it. And his daughter has gone around on places like Alex Jones and other podcasts talking about how her dad didn't do it. And I'm like, daddy issues, right? You love your dad. I get it. I understand. But he definitely did. He pioneered that style of filming with it. You would have to see it set up, the way they positioned the glass, the way you put the light into it, and what you see, what's real in the foreground versus what's real in the background. And then you compare that to what you're seeing in the moon landing, and then you see, like there's just questions like, how come when it lifts off, it goes straight up real fast? There's no plume of what we're calling powdery snow, moon dust. None of it pushes out of the way. This thing's just lifted up as if a crane lifted it up. And then the camera pans right up along with it. And it's like, who is there filming all of it? And even if you go around they'll start making up excuses. But what I've found is you have to start jumping through hoops at some point to start answering the questions, when the most obvious answer is, guys, it was filmed. Okay. And listen to me. You don't have to be mad about it. Like, imagine you're really sending someone to the moon, right? For the first time ever, and not even going through the logistics of getting to the moon. Guys, the moon is 239,000 miles away. You know how many refueling trips you would have to take? How many stations you'd have to refuel just to get there? So we can't even get there on one tank of fuel. We would have to have multiple tanks of fuel to get there. Can't do it. Haven't done it. But not only that, but imagine if you really were going to go do this for the first time, right? Never been done before. You don't want to film 2 guys getting dead, 3 guys getting dead. Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin. You don't want to film those 3 men getting dead, right? So if everything goes awry and it blows up, you can't have that going on. If you lose contact halfway because people already know what's happening, you can't have that going on. Would you feel more or less comfortable knowing that your government had a backup plan for it? Personally, I'm like, what are we putting you in charge for if you didn't have a backup plan in place? Right? Why are you ruling this nation if you didn't have a backup plan for the moon landing not going as prescribed? Right? So yeah, I think either way, whether it was going to be real or not, either way, they would have pre-filmed it. Either way. It doesn't make sense that they would have posted this for the world to witness with the possibility of it being a failure, especially when, they're racing to the moon. They're trying to get to the moon before every other nation to show their supremacy, right? And then we're also told that we've got more technology in our pockets in the form of a smartphone than they had in an entire building that was controlling everything. It's like, okay, well, the logical answer is it didn't happen. All right. Anything besides the Stanley Kubrick thing that you wanted to say about this? How far are you from believing the moon landing was faked?
Far from it. The man won't even put his hand on the Bible and say say it's real. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. that's a deep rabbit hole. Spend hours talking about it. Just look into it and ask questions like, where are the stars? How come they couldn't see the stars? Ask the astronauts about the stars. Nazis on the moon. I don't really know about this. It's nothing to subscribe to anyway, because I don't believe that you can get to the moon. Satanic cult panic. Satanic panic. That was in the early 90s. The 90s, there was the satanic panic. A bunch of kids being sacrificed, all this shit. Was it real? Yeah, I mean, the satanic panic was real. Was the stuff really going on? I don't know. We didn't have everybody uploading it to Facebook, every 5 minutes. So we don't know if any of these sacrifices are really happening. Was there strange rituals going on? Yes. Was pentagrams being? Yes, all that stuff. But I mean, yes, there is a deceiver, and yes, he has worshipers. So, I mean, there's not much more to talk about there. New World Order, we're living in it, bud. We're in it. We are there. It says it on the back of our dollars, Novos Ordo Seclorum. That means New World Order. It's been going on since 1776. That's a whole thing. People can get into it. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about with the liberation and someone being set free. This is something that also you can't touch on YouTube. There was a man, Bill something. I can't remember his last name. He wrote a book called Behold, a Pale Horse. And in the original copy, he does have the in there. The what is it called? The something of, and it's a rabbit hole. There's a reason it's on this side of the anti-Semitic point of no return. So look into that at your own if you want, but it's just something there. All right, this one, can you read that? It says celebs moisturize with children's foreskin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this is up here, because this should be down here with things that actually happened. I believe it was Sandra Bullock went on the Ellen DeGeneres show, and she started telling Ellen about, hey, I get this. And they said, Ellen said, well, Sandra, why don't you tell us what's in this injection that you get in your face? And it is children's foreskin. So it seems like it's actually really happening. I don't know why it's here, except to set a narrative to say that all this is fake and blah, blah, blah. But anti-Semitic point of no return, I don't know. Is Ellen what's her name? Sandra Bullock. I have no idea. I don't know why this would make you anti-Semitic to believe that celebs moisturize with children's foreskin. But there's other things. This one right here, I will not say that word. But you guys, if you can read it, look it up on your own time. And at your own risk also. Obama birth certificate fake. This is something I believe that our current president pioneered back around 12 or 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember all that when he was like, Obama's birth certificate's fake, you weren't born here? Okay. Wait, why is that at the anti-Semitic point of no return? Obama's black. Huh. All right. Anyway, Hollow Earth. Hollow Earth. People think that there's nothing under the ground. Do you remember when there was a king? His name was Saul. He went to a woman who was a witch in a place called Endor. Do you know this story? Mm-hmm. King Saul, when he traveled to the witch of Endor, he was having trouble, and he needed to speak with a prophet. So he had already outlawed necromancy and summoning spirits for his people. His people were called the Israelites. So he had outlawed these concepts. So he had to go find someone who was not an Israelite to practice necromancy. So King Saul went to go find this woman. She was called the Witch of Endor. King Saul says, I need to speak with Samuel. Can we commune with him? So she, and it says very specifically in this book, which is the Bible, says she calls him up, and Samuel's spirit comes up from inside of the earth. So we're told that Abraham's bosom and that Sheol are inside of the earth. And if they were inside of the earth, that, in my definition, would make the earth hollow. So for me, again, it kind of seems like the Bible does say that there's open, empty spaces where souls can go that are inside of the earth, thus not being a steel cord earth. So I would say, yeah, the earth's hollow. Absolutely. Yep. I fall under that. But what's to say? Antifa International starting wildfires? There was some wildfires that happened, but I didn't know Antifa International was involved in that. Have you heard anything about that?
I ain't know shit about them starting wildfires. I know it was people caught in Cali doing it, but I ain't know they was. I ain't heard nothing about them being attached to.
I was aware that people were caught with blowtorches, and it seems like that's also being suppressed. Like people were trying to say that didn't really happen, but I know people were definitely caught trying to set fires. But I too did not know that they were put in any group or like this Antifa. I had no idea. Bill Gates microchipping though. I conveniently skipped over something. If you people noticed that, just like this, I skipped over that, and we go straight to Bill Gates microchipping. I guess this kind of leaks or goes into like the anti-vaxxers. I think people are believing that Bill Gates is putting some kind of something sketchy inside of our vaccines that he's paying for. And people think that these little nanobots can reassemble inside of us, creating microchips inside of our body. And they only believe that because they've seen it happen on the internet. We're not necessarily saying it happens in this case, though. And from there, we have the flat earth. The flat earth, some people think it goes directly against the hollow earth. But there's people who truly believe that the earth is flat. People today, after we know that the earth is a spinning globe ball flying through space, there are people who today, in this day and age, believe that the earth is flat. Stephen, have you heard of any of these people?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is something you've come in contact with?
Of course.
Okay, so I first came in contact with this, obviously, when I was a little kid and I was watching these Christopher Columbus movies. There was one where there's this little bookworm who's going through and teaching Christopher Columbus the shape of the earth, and he's eating in these square globes and making them circle. And they apparently before him thought the earth was flat. And I was like, wow. And hearing about that as a little kid, I'm like, no, we know the earth's a globe. That's crazy, right? But then I start hearing about it again about 2011-ish, maybe around 2012. And it starts getting pushed. And when I first hear about it, I'm like, these people are so silly. What? Like, we know we have all these pictures. Like, we know we've been to the moon, guys. We know that the earth is a ball. And well, here's what I'll tell you. If you do look into it, it's nothing anyone's ever going to be able to convince you of. You would have to be willing to convince yourself of it, I believe. But if you look into it, you will start asking even more questions. Just stuff doesn't make sense. It's kind of a crazy conspiracy theory to think that if the earth were flat, that they'd actually be able to convince everybody on it that it was a ball spinning through space. But just look at the questions that these people ask, and you might agree with them, you might not agree with them. I will say that it is fun. It is fun to look through, and when you first get through it, if you can get past the craziness, and the fact that these people actually really do think this, then it's fun to look into, guys. It's worth the while. But that leads us into this part right here, which is also, I think we can skip over that for now. And we land right onto this, the Mars slave colony. I have no idea about this. I have no idea what it would be about. Have you heard of a Mars slave colony, Stephen?
Absolutely not.
Me neither. I know Elon Musk is trying to get there. I don't think he can. We can talk about Mars some other time. I know that there was a god named Mars one time.
Named Mars, yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know about any slave colonies there. Wayfair. We've got just what you need. Is that what they say? Wayfair. We've got just what you need. Something like that.
I think so. I think so.
Okay. Wayfair. Ooh, boy, I don't have time to go into this, but Wayfair, kind of like, when you start asking questions about down here with Mattress Firm, like who's buying all these mattresses, Wayfair.
But I was accused of selling I don't
children.
know, say that, yeah.
Yep.
Selling minors. PDF activity.
Yep. That is exactly what it is. If you look into it, it's crazy. Because like sometimes they'll have like this dresser that is the same as all these other $200 dressers, but they'll have it marked at like $10,000.
Yeah.
And there's these little symbols around, the pictures of that. And when you go to look at like, well, what are these symbols? You get drawn into this FBI document of known pedophile organization symbols that pedophiles use to express their love for little boys, little girls, whatever. There's a different symbol for all of it. And you would go through these Wayfair sale, whatever it is, listing, and it would be like dresser, boy's name, and then have pictures of what they call the boy love symbol. And it would be marked at $10,000. When it begs the question, are you selling a $10,000 dresser, or is there something else going on here?
Right.
And that's just a whole rabbit hole to get into. And finally, we get to finish it up with reptilian overlords. Oh, reptilian overlords. So we all know the theory. We've all heard it at the very least. You've heard it, yeah, Stephen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So reptilian overlords, what this is talking about is essentially reptile human. I think they're wizard people, maybe, that rule over humanity. Where are these lizard people? Well, people tell you when you ask these questions, well, they're right in front of you. And they say that they can wear masks and look like humans. Other people say they live underground. Either way, it is a deep rabbit hole, and it is crazy. It is just crazy. Like, I've never seen anybody, except in video games, those Argonians and old Elder Scrolls games. Other than that, I don't know of any reptile people. But that being said, this was one pretty thorough conspiracy chart. That's why I wanted to go ahead and grab it. Abbie Richards, thank you for putting this together. These are all her ats if you have something to tell her. For me, I enjoyed it. I think she did a good job putting it all together. I like it. I will be using this to kind of guide in certain times what subjects to talk about, because there's no we're not in a short supply of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought this was a very good, thorough. Now there's things that I could have added, things I would have taken off. I thought were redundant. Kind of like how you said with these three, Roswell, UFO, Area 51, like that's kind of all the same thing, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to take up space. But
exactly, that's what I was thinking this whole time.
Did you there was a bunch of stuff that you had to have learned about for the first time today, correct?
Yeah.
Where do you think you fall on this list? Is that something that you would be willing to share with us?
I mean, it's definitely things.
I'd say it needs to be reordered. Huh?
Yeah, I definitely think it needs to be reordered. But I think it's a lot of things in all of the categories that I believe in, that I believe in. So I guess I'm never mind. Can't say that.
Can't go past that point of no return. Right. So if you're listening, if you're watching, if you disagreed with some of us, if you thought one of us is crazy, if you think we're both crazy, let us know. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. Right. Just interact, ask questions. Don't call us crazy. Ask questions. Say, well, why are you saying that? Right. Steven, do you have anything you want to leave these people with before we get out of here?
No, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Like I said, and you didn't like it, dislike it. Give me a thumbs down. I'm not afraid. Until next time, thank you for stopping by, guys.